Alpha Blondy is a reggae singer and international recording artist. Many of his songs are politically motivated, and are mainly sung in his native language of Dioula, French and in English, though he occasionally uses other languages, for example, Arabic or Hebrew. Early years. Childhood. First son of a family of 8 children, Pseudo Copyright was raised by his grandmother, growing up in what he described as among elders, which later was to have a big impact on his career. In 1962, Alpha Blondy went to join his father in Copyright, where he spent 10 years, attended St. Elizabeth High School, and was involved in the Ivory Coast students' movement. In high school, he formed a band, but this hobby affected his schooling and he was expelled due to poor attendance. His parents then sent him to study English in Monrovia in the neighboring country of Liberia in 1973. He spent 13 months there and then moved to the United States of America to improve his English. College in the USA. In 1974, Pseudo moved to New York where he majored in English at Hunter College, and later in the Columbia University American Language Program because he wanted to be a teacher. In New York he met Rastafarians for the first time, and was also able to see concerts by Jamaican artists such as Burning Spear. Pseudo was involved in multiple altercations in New York and returned to the Ivory Coast, where he got into even more trouble until he met up with one of his childhood friends, Fulgence Cassie, who had become a noted television producer. This was the beginning of his real career as a musician, and he began to use the name Alpha Blondy. Musical career. After various TV shows for Cassie, Blondy recorded his first solo album in 1982, entitled Jah Glory. This album was to have enormous success and would become later a symbol of resistance because of the song Brigadier Saberi, which documents his experience of being arrested in Abidjan in the 1980s and his subsequent mistreatment by the police. Alpha Blondy became a big star in Abidjan with his own African twist of reggae music, becoming in the eyes of his fans the Bob Marley of Africa. Alpha Blondy is spiritual, political and positive just like Marley himself, and even recorded a cover of Bob Marley's song War. In order to reach more people with his message, he chose to sing in many languages, English, French, Dioula Copyright, and his native language Dioula. Later, he also brought new instrumentation to his brand of reggae such as the violin and cello. Soon, the fame of Alpha Blondy spread to Europe. Following the success of an EP entitled Rasta Power Copyright, he went to Paris in 1984 to make his second album, Cocody Rock, with the label Pave Marconi. The Bob Marley of Africa traveled to the island of Jamaica and recorded the title track of this album with Marley unregistered trademark backing group, The Wailers. Back home in 1985, Blondy went into the studio to record Apartheid is Nazism, a call for the end of apartheid. In 1986, he recorded Oe Jerusalem at the Tuff Gong Studios in Jamaica, again with the Wailers featuring Bob Marley's legendary Aston family man Barrett. Blondy tried to promote unity between the religion of Islam, Judaism and Christianity. He drew his arguments and inspiration from his own diverse knowledge of the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah. That same year, he sang in Hebrew during a concert in Morocco. At this point, he was touring continuously. His new album Revolution had a lighter, gentler sound. This was the album with cellos in the instrumentation, and the lineup included veteran Ivory Coast singer Akon Kone. The album also included Jah Hufua T. Pile, a long speech by Ivory Coast President Far copyright licks Hufua T. Boigny with only the most minimal beat behind it. Blondy spent the years 1987–89 giving concerts and recording SOS Gert Rebelle in Abidjan. This was promoted by Blondy himself, as he was distancing himself from Pave Marconi at this stage. This was not to be a real success but it did not deter Blondy and in 1991 he returned to Europe for a concert tour and to record his famous album Azada with the help of musical legends such as Bokana Maker and UK reggae producer Dennis Boville. The album, with its hit single Rendez Vous, was a huge success, and Blondy was later to receive his first gold disc in Paris. At the beginning of 1993, worn out from a world tour, Blondy succumbed to depression and was taken into an institution for psychiatric help. But as his health recovered, he recorded the album Dioula, on which he appears more spiritual and religious, on tracks such as Heal Me, about his illness and recovery. Blondy's psychiatric treatment continued, but on December 10, 1994, he was back with a festival in memory of President Houphouët, and later he made his European comeback at a storming concert at Le Zénith in Paris. In 1996, Blondy released a hits compilation and went back into the studio to record the album Grand Bassam Zion, singing in 6 languages: Malinke, Arabic, French, English, Ashanti and Wolof. After 2 more years in Paris, Blondy returned to his homeland in 1998, with a new album, The Prophet. Convinced his label was too much focused on the international market, he decided to create his own label. Since then he has recorded albums and singles, such as Yitzhak Rabin, in memory of the Israeli Prime Minister who was assassinated in 1995, the single Journalist in Danger from his 2000 album Elohim. Alpha Blondy celebrated 20 years as a recording artist with the release in 2002 of his CD Merci, featuring Offaly Winter and Sans Super Crew, which earned him a 2003 Grammy Award nomination for Best Reggae Album. However, due to the political situation in Ivory Coast, he was unable to personally attend the awards ceremony in New York City. In an unprecedented move, the Grammy Awards permitted him to send a representative in his place of honor. In 2005 Aquaba was released. His CD Jar Victory was released July 2007. It features Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare, as well as Tyrone Downie, formerly of Bob Marley and the Wailers. Victory is in honor of the peace agreement that was reached and implemented in his country in March 2007. One of Blondy's most popular and successful songs was Zar Copyright Bar Copyright Alawaye Copyright. On July 19, 2009, Blondy performed at New York Central Park before a crowd of many native Africans, Jamaicans, and Americans. On June 13, 2010, a large crowd was allowed into a Blondy concert in the Ivory Coast to celebrate the peace and unity of the country. Ironically, overcrowded conditions at the concert resulted in at least 20 people being injured, 2 of whom died. On June 27, 2010, Alpha Blondy was the closing act at Parkpop, The Hague, Netherlands. He replaced Snoop Dogg and Beenie Man. Blondy has also been an important influence on other African reggae artists such as Ismael Isaac. In November 2014, singer-songwriter Jonathan Wilson released an EP called Slide By featuring the song Alpha Blondy Was King. Released in January 2015, the Roots Reggae Library featured an edition on Alpha Blondy with interpretations and translations of songs in all languages, including those in Dioula. Faith: Alpha Blondy was born to a Muslim father and a Christian mother, and was brought up by a grandmother, who taught him to love everyone. Blondy's respect for all religions and the spirituality he derives from them can be heard on the tracks A Oe God Is Only A or A Oe Jerusalem A where he sang for unity between all religions in 1986. Humanitarian: Alpha Blondy was named United Nations Ambassador of Peace for Qatar in 2005. He made great efforts to bring about a peaceful solution to his country's political and physical division, which was a result of an attempted coup in 2001. As of March 2007, a peace agreement was signed and implemented, due to the hard work of many people including Alpha Blondy. Alpha now reaches out further with the newly created not-for-profit, non-government, non-political, charitable foundation, Alpha Blondy Jar Glory Foundation, which works towards ending social injustice and generational poverty by giving people the tools that they need to help themselves. He strongly believes in helping the poor, and also that children should not be hurt. The foundation strives to create and implement grassroots programs at the village level, such as the Women A Unregistered Trademark Self-Sufficiency Micro-Loan Program, to teach women who are caring for multiple orphans how to start and manage their own business, to better provide for their families, as well as other sustainable projects, such as the Tafari Genesis Retreat Camp for Children. It especially hopes to bring joy and hope to children who have been affected by civil wars, former child soldiers, and those who suffer from chronic life-threatening illnesses, such as sickle cell anemia, malaria, asthma, etc. Alpha Blondy continues to fight for peace and unity all around the world through music. A recent example is his single A Euro Oe Hu A Yawa Euro with a fair copyright lie winter against anti-personal minds. He has also participated at many humanitarian and charity concerts, such as the concert in Senegal in March 2006 for the eradication of malaria in Africa. He also continues this work in Ivory Coast itself, at his annual free concert at Bassam Beach called A Euro Oa Fest or Euro. Best known songs, his first success was Brigadier Saberi. Some representative songs are, Si Bala I, Ja Gloria Euro in which he sings against poverty, apartheid is Nazism, Brigadier Saberi A Euro satirical lyrics about police brutality. Kokodi Rock A Euro has become an Alpha Blondy anthem, which everyone knows and sings, Ger Civil A Euro about civil war, Jerusalem A Euro a call for peace. The lyrics begin with a prayer in Hebrew, Journalists Endanger A Euro about the assassination of Norbert Zongo, Politica A Euro about civilian/military government alternance, Yitzhak Rabin A Euro written in 1995, following the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, and dedicated to him. Sweet Fanta Dioula, Tar copyright Ra copyright, Blesser, Rasta Power copyright. Discography equals 1980s equals 1990s equals 2000s equals 2010s equals. References. External links, official website.